Okay, in the HiPoTek instructions, they do say, ooh, I just cut myself pretty good. They say don't do that. Happy Friday. I'm a little bit behind the ball this week because obviously I'm filming on a Friday, and usually I try to have things edited and uploaded on Friday so that they can come out on Saturday, but I don't know if we're going to be able to make that happen this week. And it's Easter weekend, so happy Easter. It's Good Friday. Happy Good Friday. Do you say Happy Good Friday, or is that not? There's a lot to that. You know, do what you will with it. So, I got some upgrades coming for the Dakota finally. So, what are we doing today? I have this brake booster on my LS swap Dakota LS, and it's leaking. So when I step on the brakes, you can hear the brake, some kind of diaphragm leak inside the brake booster. So that's not desirable, and I think it's given me some issues with tuning. Not to mention, also that I think I have some issues with my fuel injectors. So that's why I haven't been able to take this thing out and test out the nitrous. So if you guys are wondering, that's why. But now I've got some parts to fix it, and we're going to be upgrading it at the same time. So I've got some stuff. Got some new injectors. You guys seen me put injectors before, and I don't even know if I'm going to get to that today. But what I need to do is try to swap out this brake booster. Now, one of the things, if you look here, when I put on these Brian Tooley Racing valve covers, it comes with these coil packs, and we have this coil pack right here. And, well, it's real hard to get these coil packs off because of the size of this brake booster. So if I had to replace the brake booster anyway, why don't we do an upgrade? And while these Gen I Dodge Dakotas, I love them. I've had one for 26 years. They're awesome, you know, in my opinion. I also know that the aftermarket is absolutely dead for these things, and that's why I have an LS in it. I've got a Nova radiator in it. I've got a GM 4L80 transmission in it. I've got a Ford 8.8 rear end in it, and I've got S10 front suspension on it. Yeah, I've made a bit of a mutt, if you guys are not aware. But the aftermarket's not very plentiful for these things, which is why some people tend to alter them in a way that's a little bit more, I guess, budget friendly. But there is one company that is kind of a homegrown small company called HiPoTek, and they do make some parts for the Gen 1 Dakotas and Gen 2 Dakotas. But, you know, since Gen 1 Dakota, they make some pretty cool stuff. One of those things is this little guy right here. This is an adapter that will allow you to take a firewall from a Gen 1 Dakota and adapt it to the brake booster on a Gen 2 Dakota. This is a 99 up Dodge Dakota brake master cylinder. Brake booster, not master cylinder. And it's a little bit different than what usually comes on these things, and the bolt pattern's a bit different. You can also see that the bolt pattern is cocked over a little bit. So HiPoTek, and I do not know the gentleman's name that runs the company, but he does a good job, makes an adapter. So this adapter plate will go on to the brake booster, and then this goes through the firewall, and then you can use this brake booster on a Gen 1 Dakota, which is not only less of a diameter, it's also got it's a double diaphragm, and it's got much more pressure to the brakes. I'm not sure how it's going to play out because this pedal's a little touchy already, so that'll be interesting to see how that goes. But it'll definitely give me more room over here. The only problem that I foresee is I have all custom brake lines on my truck, that I bent myself, and I don't have a lot of room for wiggle on the master cylinder brake line, so I may be stuck with trying to get these brake lines to move. So first thing I gotta do is get up underneath the dash. I'm gonna take this panel off right here. I'm gonna drop the steering column, then I'm gonna get to the 4 bolts that are behind the steering column. It's not that easy to show you guys. Once I get all that removed, it's just a couple screws and taking some time. I'll see if I can show you where the 4 bolts are coming through, and then we'll kind of compare these guys once I get the old one out. I also have to secure the master cylinder when we get ready to do that, so I'm just gonna get busy. So here we go. It's been a minute since I've done this, but let's see if I can show you guys what we're working at. Underneath the dash, I've got this trim piece off. There's a bolt here, and you'll see that. And then there's one here, and then there's one over there, which you can't see with the light, and another one on the other side over here. 4 bolts. They're 1/2-inch bolts. And like I said, it's been a minute since I've done this, so I'm gonna have to see how easy it is to get out. I think 3 of them are pretty easy, but this one up here, you can see that we have this brake pedal switch. The brake light switch is kind of in the way. And I can't get you guys in here and get all these bolts out at once. So I'm just going to try to take my time and see what I can get done. And good thing is I don't think I'm going to have to drop the steering column, and that just saves a lot of time. So I'm going to go for that top one first. I may have to put a 1/4-inch extension on it to try to skinny it up some. But I think we're going to be able to get it out of there. The last thing that you have to do in there is pull off this clip that holds the brake booster on the brake pedal itself. But this clip looks like this, and it kind of goes over and snaps on. So you have to pry it back a little bit to get it to slide off. You kind of have to look at it to see what it does. Like I said, it kind of goes, it clips on like this. If you pry it at the right spot, it'll come back and over. Be careful, you can bend it. I've bent this one before. So there we go. Now that I got all the bolts out of the firewall, I need to try to support the master cylinder before I take it off. And there's only 2 bolts. There's a bolt over here and a bolt over there. Also 1/2-inch bolts. So I'm going to try to use this piece of wood and a zip tie. I'm going to try to go underneath this dude and see if that's going to help me keep it elevated. Something. So that way I can pull the booster out, not lose my lines and bend anything to that extent, you know, the things that would not be fantastic to do. There's that. Both bolts are out. There. See if we can hold it like that. And that coil. Oh. I don't know what that was. I heard something though. I'm gonna try to keep wiggling this guy out of here and make sure he's off the pedal. So here we go. Let's take a look at these guys. This is the original brake booster for my Gen 1 Dakota, and this one is for the 99, I think like 03 or 04 Dakota. Right away, you can definitely tell that this brake booster is about 11 inches in diameter, and then this one is about 9 inches in diameter. So there's a pretty significant difference there. But then when we change it this way, there's a really, really big difference. All right, so first of all, This one is probably, I'm going to guess, 7 inches wide or so. This one is probably at its widest part. And if you look here, it's actually cantered to where, you know, it kind of sits back against the firewall. It's probably 6 inches or so that way. This has a flat mounting surface. This surface is mounted at an angle. So there's some big differences that way. Inside, I believe this is a dual diaphragm and this is a single diaphragm. What that means, I don't really know. I am not the most experienced with this stuff, so I can't really tell you. I do know that there is an adjustable, little bit of an adjustable prong here, and I don't know if this one is adjustable or not. It kind of looks like it is. Not sure what the difference is going to be between the two of those. I may have to run that out some, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. And in order to make this work with this, let's look at the back. This has a symmetrical bolt pattern. This has an offset bolt pattern. Now, they are not the same bolt pattern. I believe this to be much smaller than this, but if you look where the brake rod comes out, it's in the center on this one, but it's offset on this one. So that's the biggest difference between them, and because of that, HiPoTek makes this awesome adapter bracket that is going to go on here. Now, I think it's quite apparent, if you haven't already called it out to me, that these studs are going to be a little too long. Let's see how long, because we're going to have to cut them and trim them, and I'll show you how we do that real quick. But I just wanted to look at it real quick and kind of see what we're working with. This is the... Oh, yeah. Yep, definitely going to have to cut quite a bit off of there. At least half. Holy guacamole. Okay. Well, I think we should do that before we go any further, and then I can explain how it's all going to bolt together. It doesn't look too difficult. It's definitely something you do on your own. I'm going to run all these nuts on, and then I'm going to get the cutting wheel out. I'm going to cut these guys in half or so, and then kind of go from there. Of course, this guy's going to be sticky, right? Throw all the nuts on, run them down pretty good ways, and then I'm going to measure 1.5 inches out on these studs, and then I'm going to mark them with a paint pen. So I'm going to cut them to where they're 1.5 inches. So I'm going to cut them to where they're 1.5 inches away from the mounting surface. There we go. We just need to run these guys out to basically fix the threads. Now look at that. That one came right off. It was cut pretty good. Okay, in the HiPoTek instructions, they do say... Ooh, I just cut myself pretty good. They say don't do that. Alright, so let's install this adapter. They say it's much easier to install the adapter before you put it on the firewall. So, let's look at our booster. We've got it clocked or positioned to where our check valve is on the left side facing up. So, this is how it would mount on the firewall. So, let's turn it around to where the backside is facing you. If you look at the adapter, and you face it around to where the bolts are facing you, there's one side of the adapter where the holes are drilled out that's much higher than all the other sides of where the studs are. That side, you're going to want it to face to the right if you're looking at the booster. So, just like that. Now, if you look here, that's centered. Kind of take a peek at it again. This is facing this way. This is kind of facing that way. They're a little off sides of each other, but it's going to center up the booster when it bolts to the firewall. So that's how you put the adapter on. It comes with hardware. This is where you have fun and you do the mixture of standard and metric, because I believe these are metric nuts, and the ones in the firewall will probably still be standard. Not a big deal, but I'm going to throw all these nuts on, get them tightened down, and then we'll be ready to throw it back in the truck. To give you guys another look at this side protrudes out much more than any of the other sides. It faces the right. Everything's centered up when you do it that way. So kind of get a look at everything. Make sure your studs aren't touching this. Make sure they're flush against the booster itself. And that's it. Get your nuts tight. And in a minute, we'll try to throw it back in the firewall. All right, so I'm going to try to get this guy in here. I have no idea how easy or hard this is going to be. Definitely much thinner. Look at that. Woo-wee. Oh, we might be all right, guys. We might be all right. Cool. Let me try to do all the fun stuff on the inside, put it all back together, and see where we're at. It's a lot more bolt-on than I thought it was going to be. Got all the bolts ran in. I've got the clip on the brake pedal. I was able to get the master cylinder on, I guess because it's lower. The vacuum line is now hooked up. Probably needs to be a little bit longer than it is. It's pulling a little bit on the valve, which is not ideal, but it's enough to test fire and see if it's going to work. I can't drive it too much right now because I'm going to be replacing the injector. So, and then I have to move everything else, and I just can't do that at the moment. But let's turn the power on, and I want to see if the brake lights come on, because I think they're going to. Yeah, I think it's going to need some adjusting. So I'm definitely going to have to adjust the brake light switch, which is not the easiest thing in the world, but not the worst either. So I'm not surprised at that. And then there's a lot of play before you hit the master cylinder. So I think I need a pause because I'm gonna have to adjust the plunger that's in here to come out some, because it ain't gonna work like this. It's there's a lot of slack in that pedal already, I can tell you right now. Yeah, it doesn't even hit it till way down in there. So let me pause, back that master cylinder off, and see if I can't get that adjusted. Looks really good, doesn't it? I think it looks awesome. However, it's not going to work. We're stuck. So this is probably going to be, video is going to be a little bit late because I'm going to have to put a master cylinder on this thing. So that'll probably take me a little bit of time to get in and get done. I don't have the time to do it today, so I apologize for these videos being a little bit late. And it's going to be a busy weekend for the holiday. So I looked on rockauto.com. I love using rockauto.com because it's got pictures of everything and you can use it as a reference. Well, these brake boosters have, these master cylinders for a 99 up Dakota, they have a protrusion that comes out of the back of the master cylinder that goes into the booster. which is completely different design than these, which have a hole in the back of the master cylinder, and the push rod goes into that hole. So like basically one needs to go into this and the other one comes out of it, which is what we saw. I hope that makes sense. Once I get the new master cylinder, I will show you guys what I'm talking about. But yeah, I'm at a stopping point. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to stop right here and get some stuff ordered to make all of this fun stuff work. So I'll see you guys once I get all the parts. Happy Easter Sunday, everybody. It's been a good day for me. Hope it's been a good day for you guys. I got parts in, and I've kind of gotten some stuff taken apart. I've got the old master cylinder off, and well, let's go over the differences. First of all, before we do this, I did call HiPoTek, who makes the conversion setup here, and I talked to Richard, who I think is the guy that runs it, and he confirmed that it does use the newer master cylinder. So if you're doing this swap, make sure you get one of those too. He developed this kit for a truck that he had, and when he swapped it, he swapped both the master cylinder and the booster at once. So that's something to think about. It does make a difference. But there are some, speaking of differences, there's quite a bit of difference between these two master cylinders. So let's look over them and see why one would work and one does not. My 92 stock Dodge Dakota master cylinder, and this is the new 2000 and up Dodge Dakota master cylinder. Now I ordered an 03 just because I'm crazy and I know that they all have 4-wheel disc. I don't think there's any difference, but it made me feel better. So first of all, if we lay these things by themselves, this is the mounting surface of the master cylinder for the new one. This is the mounting surface for the master cylinder of the old one, and you can see this one protrudes substantially into the brake booster. This one, not so much less big of a diameter on the piston there. Then this one has this protruding rod that goes over the push rod there. So that's why it didn't work. It wasn't even going to be close to work because we're hitting the rod in here and we're not even close to getting the push rod to push into there. Lastly, look at the difference in the bore surface. You know, the mounting board. This has got a much bigger piston than this one. So yeah, that's exactly why it wasn't going to work. And I kind of took a moment and figured that out. Lastly, these fittings are standard, and I think one's a 9/16, one may be a half inch or something, but they're like 9/16 by like 20 and like half inch by 20. It's kind of an odd sizing. These are metric. 2000 and up makes sense. This is an M12 by 1 inch. This is a M10 by 1 inch. So I went out and got some fittings. I ordered a random kit off of Amazon. It was actually from the Stop Shop, who is the company that I bought all the line from. So I'm going to have to put new fittings on it. And lastly, and I don't know if I'll be able to show you this. If I can, I will. If I can't, you'll just have to kind of do some Googling. But this type of master cylinder takes what's called an inverted flare or a double inverted flare. This master cylinder takes what's called a bubble flare. And it has to do with the way that the lines are shaped when they go into the master cylinder. So this one has a conical seat that it kind of goes over like a trumpet onto the conical seat. This one's going to be like a bubble that fits in there. So I'm going to have to put new fittings on here. I'm going to have to remake this line here from the line lock. It's not the end of the world, but it's also pretty boring for you guys to see me make lines and bleed brakes. So I'm just going to take that on. Plus, it's raining. So I'm just going to kind of work on this for a little bit tonight. And once it's done, I'll give you an update. Would you looky there? It's all done. We're plumbed. We're tested. While I'm here, just double checking. We are bled. Fluid is in. and the pedal feels really good. So I just need to do a little testing. I can't really drive it at the moment. I'll explain more about that in a minute. But I think it looks pretty good. I had to get a little creative with this line here, and I'm actually pretty proud of it. I think it came out pretty good. So this goes to the rear brakes. I was able to use the same bracket I made before. I boogered up a little bit of the lines. They're not quite as straight as they used to be, which is a little annoying, but it's okay. It's okay. We got all that done. I adjusted the brake light switch, and all I did was kind of take the end of a hammer and push forward on it, because it will move back and forth based on what it needs. There's no clip, there's no bolt, there's no nothing like that. It's just, I mean, there's a clip actually, and it can move back and forth for there and however it needs. I didn't realize I had my ignition on. So now they're not on, and the battery is on, so that's good. And well, you know, we got some things going on, and did you catch that? I don't know. Let me start it up. The pedal feels real good. I can already move it when it's in neutral, so I know at least right now the brakes aren't locking up. But let me start it up, make sure there's no leaks, and see if I can move it forward and backwards. And if so, we're done. So it does what I need it to do. It stops. And it lets it not stop when I'm off the pedal or roll or whatever that thing is. But I'm super happy. I can't wait to drive this thing. But as you can tell, it's probably not the greatest idea to drive this thing on the road right now. Because, well, you just have to guess why I don't have the windows in it. Why they are not out. In fact, one of them's in the trash down here somewhere, which kind of breaks my heart a little bit. That's another story for another day. But what a cool little adapter, HiPoTek. I'll put the website down there. I don't remember what website it is, but it'll be down here somewhere. Go check it out if you're looking on for some parts for Dakotas. There's not a lot of aftermarket parts for these Gen 1s, and he has a few, and this little adapter was fantastic. The pedal feels awesome. And this is actually 1 1/8 bore, which is actually kind of what's recommended for like a four-wheel disc, or at least that's what I was reading. Maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, let me know. But it looks like it's going to be a very good upgrade. I'm eventually going to try to do some Willwood brakes upgrade in the front. But now I can get this valve cover off too, because the diameter is so much smaller, and I can get to things back there, and it's a pretty good setup. I'm super happy with it. So if you're interested, go check it out. I think they're $175 or something like that. Don't quote me on it. I don't exactly remember, but it was a little over 200 shipped to my house, and I know it's a little bracket, but all the engineering's done, and it works, and it's awesome. So what do you think, Fred? Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad too. Yeah, they don't make a lot of parts for these things anymore. I'm glad someone's out there doing it. Yep. You know, that's pretty much it for this one. We've got quite a few things going on. We've been fighting with the Jeep over there, working on the Typhoon. We actually got some motor work done for Gramps here, which is going to be our twin turbo 4.8 liter LS swap Dakota. We have a few things for that. You're actually going to see that here pretty soon. You're also going to see probably another Dakota in here in a pretty wild project. And I can't wait to start that. And that's going to start sooner than I had originally anticipated. So that should be really, really cool. And I can't wait to share that with you guys. So keep an eye out for that. Other than that, what I'm saying is we do a lot of things. And if you're not subscribed already, which I think like 92% of you are not subscribed, please subscribe. It's free. Come hang out with us. We'd love to have you. I respond at the moment. I respond to damn near every single comment. So if you have a question or something, please leave it down in the comments and we'll get to it. People that have subscribed, you guys are the absolute best. Right, Fred? Yeah. See, Fred says you guys are wonderful as well. So thank you guys so much. We do hang out on Instagram and Facebook a little bit at the RacerX Garage. And we have a little bit of merch too, and I'm trying to get better ideas for that and figure out how to work that a little bit better. But you can check out what we have at racerxgarage.com. I actually need to buy a couple shirts and stuff while I'm thinking about it. I'll probably do that today. I need some of my own. So, oh man, you guys are the best. I think I already said that, and I'm going to shut it down. Hope you guys had a good Easter. Hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see you next time. Until next time, y'all be good.